Hi guys, welcome to my channel. So today I'll be showing you guys how I created a flawless look using the most affordable products ever. So this video is basically for those that feel they cannot achieve a good looking professional makeup look without using a luxury product. Luxury products are amazing. I'm not trying to dispute that fact, but if you are within a budget like me, you can still get makeup within your range nearby that you can use in achieving this look. So firstly, I'm starting by shaping my brows. This is essential to give us a superb brows, and I'm not over-tinning it. Then the next step goes to cleansing of the face, and I'm using a very affordable micellar water, which is Dr. Rachel's micellar water. I'm using the medium size, the small size, sorry. I'm using it together with my wipes. This sets a base for the whole application of the makeup. The next step is I am overly moisturizing the face. This step is more than essential, and I'm using Blossom moisturizer to do this work. So after using my brush to place it on the skin, I'm using my hand to push it in. I'm doing this to work the moisturizer into the skin. It helps. So now the next step is I'm using Pond's primer. For those that know or have heard of Pond, Pond is like one OG. I don't know, but I'm using it actually on our T-zones, on the areas that I feel that are prone to oil. I'm doing it, and I actually skipped that part, but I set in all I did with the setting spray and I allowed it to dry. Now the next step is the foundation, putting in the foundation. So now I'm actually using Avour foundation. I love their product. It's in as much as it's lightweight. Number one, I love lightweight foundations, and it's easy to blend. You don't need to use overly matte foundation when you need a flawless look. If you don't want your face to be cakey, the best is to use a easily blendable, breathable foundation, and I'm going to go for Avour. It's so nice. So I'm actually doing that with my foundation brush. I'm pushing in the product into our skin. So yes, it's true, I've not done a proper introduction. My name is Chikuneta, and I'm a professional makeup artist, and I'm a new YouTuber based in Abuja. So please do me a favor by liking this video and subscribing to my channel. So now back to what we were doing. So I'm actually setting our face. I'm setting the foundation that I put on our face with Kiss Beauty setting spray, and I'm letting it dry. This would give it a skin-like finish. It's going to soften the whole everything. Now the next step goes to I'm using my Tehila Beauty. Tehila, right? Tehila. Let me try and look. Tehila Cheeks. I don't know. I'm really not with the product now, but I'm going to put it on this video. I'm using it to serve as my contour. I don't know. I just love using it. You can use anything. You can use your foundation. Okay. For girls that are doing makeup based on their budget, you can use a darker shade of the foundation that you used, or darker shade of anything that you use to serve as your contour. So this Tehila Cheeks is more of a blush, but I love using it as my contour. I don't know, I just like how smooth, creamy it is. The next thing I'm using a beauty blender to push it in, to push in the blush that I use. Now over to the use of concealer. I am using Blossom concealer. All this thing, majority of the products I'm using is like Nigerian. There's though not all of them, but they are super affordable. I think I got this for 8,500 or something within that range. So you see what I'm doing? I placed it and I'm blending it. Now, one step in putting your concealer, before you use your beauty blender to blend it, there should be like a residue, something on your beauty blender, so that it won't lift up the concealer or give it some crack. It helps. It gives it a very smooth finish. That's like an expo that I'm giving you guys. So I'm still doing the same in the other side. I am still blending out the concealer underneath our eye. It's a gradual process, so take your time and enjoy the process. So another thing I tell most makeup lovers, upcoming makeup artists, or girls like me that want to do makeup and don't want to break their bank is building your makeup kit is just like fashion. When you want to build your wardrobe or your closet, it's something that you don't kill yourself over some certain things that you don't have. You don't have to take a loan to get some certain things you don't have. It's a gradual process. The same with makeup products. Any amount that you have can be enough to get you the essentials. So you build it gradually, and with time, you can now switch or move over to using luxury products. But some people have those luxury products and don't really know how to achieve this flawless look. The main thing comes with how you apply it, how you use it. Learning the steps in applying it properly would give it a superb look. So now the next step is to set in the place that I put my concealer, which is underneath the eye and the T-zone. I'll firstly start with using my beauty blender to set in that area again, to have like a smooth finish before using my setting powder or pressed powder. So guys, I'm using a pressed powder. I love using a pressed powder to set it in first. And the powder I'm using is Avour. I think it's sold for 3,500 or 3,007, around that range. It's super affordable and it's soft, smooth, and I don't know. I just love that powder. I love the finishing look of the powder when it's been applied on the face. I'm doing what I did underneath my eye on the areas that I put my concealer. The next step is to set in the other areas of our face with any powder of your choice. And I'm using Glow Kits or Glow Up. Sorry, I'm going to put the name of the product that I'm using on my description bar, and I'm also going to put it on this video. I'm using this powder. Is very affordable. It's a palette powder, but it's 454, around that range, 4,000 something. It's very nice and it have this full coverage. Super soft, is amazing. I'm using it to set the other areas of our face. So now the next step I'm doing is to add some depth to the cheek of our face. So like you can remember that we used our blush earlier to serve as our liquid or cream contour. So now we are going to set it with a powder, a darker shade of powder for our contour. I'll be doing this around our cheekbone, our forehead, and our chin. So now the next step is to use, after using a darker shade of powder for the contour, the next step is to use a powder blush. Blush is one essential makeup product that adds this warmth and this amazing look to any makeup look that you are doing. And I'm using classic professional blush set. I think I'm not with the product, as I said earlier. This blush set have lasted for like I think 2 or 3 years, so you can see from the video here that I've overused it, but it's amazing and it's highly pigmented. The next step is in contouring my nose. I'm trying to slim down the nose, so I'm also using a darker shade of any powder. The powder that I'm using are not expensive. Majority are Nigerian based and they're doing amazingly well. When you want to get some Nigerian product, you just try and look for the ones that are highly pigmented, like just little application of it, and it pops out. Look for the ones that are soft, that's not harsh, that don't drop some, there are some that are very dusty. As you're putting it, it's pouring all over your body and the rest. Just try and look for amazing powder palette. We have Avour, we have V Beauty, we have Bicham. Bicham is amazing. A whole lot in the market. Now the next step I'm doing is to bake the under eye. Remember, the first step was I set the under eye, I set the concealer that I use. So now I'm baking it. Before I put my setting powder, the first thing I use is I make sure I reset that under eye, because sometimes that setting might not be able to set it in. You just reset it, then you put your, because once you've put your setting powder, you notice that if there was a line before putting it, you can't shift it again. It's something that just remains stagnant. So you try and make sure that your base is smooth before you put your setting powder. I'm doing reverse contour with the same setting powder. You can use the same shade, you can use a darker shade, because the reverse contour is not meant to be as bright as the powder that you're using to bake it. And I'm actually using airbrush setting powder. It's amazing. I love the scent of it, number one, and I love that it's very soft and smooth. So now I don't want to over bake the entire face, so that was why I was using my powder to calm down the setting powder that I use. Moving over to the brows, I am setting the brows. I'm brushing it up first, then I'm using my hair wax. I got my hair wax for 900 naira. Maybe it's 1,000 naira now, but I know it's not going to be more than 1-2. It's to all the hair wax I've used, I think I prefer this regular hair wax that is everywhere. So now I'm setting the hair wax with my powder brush. There's literally no powder in my powder brush, just to make it extra matte. Now I'm doing my brows. I am a fan of using Davis product. I love Davis, but the step in using Davis product is make sure it is well sharpened, like it is extra sharp. If you notice, before I started using the brows, I resharpened it, because when it's blunt, it gives you this extra harsh look, you know. So but when it's very sharp, it just gives you a smooth finish. I'm starting with drawing the outline of the brows before I gently fill it in. And for the downside of my brows, I'm using number 3 Davis. I'm using 2 different colors of Davis powder. And for the upper side and the one I'm using to fill it in, I'm using number 18, because number 18 is softer than number 3. I like using number 3 in the downside, just to, you know, give the downside of my outline this extra darkness. But the upper side and the filling in, I ensure I use a soft brow pencil. So now I'm gently filling in my brows with light stroke, and I'm using like a light stroke method, like upwards method. Then the other side that leads towards the end of the brows, I can now shade it, but it's still lightly. I don't need to put in so much pressure. And as you can see in my entire makeup application, I am doing my makeup with a light hand. I'm not really holding the pencil with force. I'm not I'm not fighting with my face or the makeup product that I'm using. This is essential in your makeup application. This would help, because if you start up with using a very hard hand in putting your makeup, you might end up making your makeup have this harsh look. Like in putting your blush, you might put excess. In drawing your brows, you might overshade it. So it helps when your hand is light-handed. The next step I'm doing is to conceal my brows, and I'm majorly concealing just the downside. I will not touch the upside of my brows. This step is essential. It helps if you want your makeup to be fast, if you don't want to spend a whole lot of time doing your brows. Before you start with drawing your brows, you just try as much as you can so that you don't over outline your brows. You don't draw a very, because I feel the major problem that comes with brows taking so much time is when your outline is so big and you're trying to conceal it to a smaller size. So you just try and know, okay, big brows are no longer in vogue. What I invoke are moderately looking brows that look natural. Like now what is trending is natural looking brows. Some people don't even use brow pencil anymore. So you try as much as you can to make your brows look natural, as natural as possible. So now the next step is brushing the brows. I'm just brushing it upwards. I was light-handed in doing my brows, so it's not really going to, I don't have to over brush it to remove the harsh lines. So I'm just brushing it, and I'm now setting in my brush. I'm using a powder with my blending brush. I'm using my Avour powder, my Avour pressed powder, and the glow up powder palette. I'm using the two to set in, because at the end of the day I used my concealer to, after concealing the under eye, I use it as a base for my entire eye. This would help as a base for my eyeshadow. So I'm now using my powder to set it in. So now the next step is in using my eyeshadow palette from Who's That Girl eyeshadow Who's That Girl product is very affordable. From their powder palette to their eyeshadow palette to any of their products, they're affordable and they're amazing. One thing I love about their product is it is highly pigmented. A little goes a long way. The same with this eyeshadow product. So you see the way I'm applying this eyeshadow product, I'm applying it lightly. That's one thing with doing your makeup light-handed. You build your makeup gently. You don't put in so much product that you spend the entire day blending it out. It's a whole lot of work and it consumes time. So the best is gently and smoothly you work in your product so that you would know when you're done putting any product. See when you have achieved what you want to achieve in any look. So I'm still doing that gently and smoothly. This is not a full eyeshadow tutorial, but I'll just give a glimpse of what I'm doing. So after using that as my transition, I'm using my powder to set in the to blend out the harsh lines that the eyeshadow have created around the look. The next step is I am using Carite eyeliner. It is 2005 or 2000. In this part of the country where I'm living, a whole lot of things got more expensive. But before now, I think it used to be 2000. So I think at most now it should be 25 or maximum 3000. I'm not sure it's going to exceed 3000. It's super affordable and it's nice. It lasts and it's highly pigmented and it dries very fast. Like once you apply it, you don't need to wait 10 hours for it to dry, for it not to smear. Yes. Then the next step I'm doing is I am buffing out the setting powder I used in baking the face. So you see how I'm applying it. I am not just dusting everything out. I'm dusting and I'm also pressing it in. It helps. Now I'm doing my reapplication of blush just to put everything in place, applying it on the cheekbones, around the forehead, just to add more depth after the setting powder was used to bake the face. Now I'm smudging the under eye with a darker shade of eyeshadow. I'm just doing it lightly because I told you that my eye look is going to be very soft and light because my lip will be a little bit bold. So we don't need to do bold eye and bold lip. It's going to be scary, So after smudging it, I am using my powder, my blending brush, and just a little bit of powder to just dust it off. Now I'm using my cream blush from Tehila Cheeks. I already know the name now. It's Tehila Cheeks, not Tehila Beauty. I'm using it to add more. This helps. When you're using powder application, it's just bland, powdery. But this blush makes it feels more natural. It looks like skin. That's one good thing with cream blush. So I'm a big fan of cream blush. Let me talk about what I love, but it's amazing and your product is affordable because I got mine at 10,000 naira, but I've been using it for a year and most products that we get, we can use it for up to 2 years. So that's one good thing of getting this product. So now, in between me putting the blush, I think I actually set the face, but I skipped that part. I have to set the powder in and to calm the makeup down a bit. So now I'm using my highlighter. I got it from Ever Beauty, And I think as of then, I've used it for a while. It's amazing, and it's lasted me for like 2 years if I'm not mistaken. I think I got mine for 2,500 or 3,000, 2,500, I think, around that range. I can't remember. So now the next step is I am putting my false lash. I'm going to use a subtle, very cool thing. I told you our look, the only busy part of this look is the lip. So the eye should not be too busy. So I'm placing it in and I'm adjusting the eyelash so as not to give any discomfort to my model. So I still go back. I'm using this highlighter too, but I'm using it lightly. It's powdery. The other one I used was pressed, but this one I'm using is in a powder form, just to add a little bit of highlight. Nothing all that serious. Now the next step is my mascara. I can't remember the name. I'm trying to look from this video because I told you I'm not with most of my product at the moment, but I think I got it for 1,500, 1,700, around that range. Now the next step is the lip. Before I do anything on my lip or on anybody's lip, always try to moisturize. Especially in this period, this is a Harmattan period, but not even about a Harmattan period. It helps. It makes your product to glide smoothly. It prevents cracks and the rest. So now I am doing my lips. I'm using a darker shade before I use a lighter shade in the middle area. So another thing with moisturizing your lip, especially when you're using matte products, like the two lippies I'll be using are super matte. They are drying. It's classic. The red lipstick that I use is from Classic. I love Classic products. Before I moved over to using other types of foundation, I still use their foundation till date. So I'm a fan of Classic products, and their products are super affordable. Their lippies, I think it's for 1,200, 1,400, 1,500, around that range. So now I'm done with it, and I've put my lip gloss. My lip gloss was absolute of 200 naira, and I want to seal in the entire makeup. Seal it so pro. I love it. I love it. I love it. And it's still affordable. That small size is for 10,000 naira or 9,500. So now look at this beauty. We ended this video with her talking the entire time, but we had a lot of fun in this session. Thank you so much for watching till the very end of this video. I hope you learned a thing or two on how to achieve this amazing looking flawless makeup. Thank you, and see you in my next video.